welcome back to my channel. My name is Traci and this is another video in my apartment series. And today's video is questions to ask your leasing agent before signing that lease. Super excited about today's video. This is very important because you need to make sure that you know everything before you sign your life away. Not really, but you get the gist. If you guys are liking this series so far, make sure to let me know by giving this video a thumbs up and commenting down below how you feel about it. If you have any questions so far, definitely let me know. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So signing a lease can be very scary, especially since the lease is very long and nobody feels like reading the whole thing. You need to make sure you ask some certain important questions before signing that lease to make sure that you're not going to get yourself caught up somehow later on down the line. So my first tip or question that you guys should be asking is, and I know it seems kind of silly, but ask how much your rent is going to be, or make sure you look for that in the lease, especially if you're signing your lease during a special that you're supposed to be getting. So if that's like 1 month free of rent, make sure that you're getting that 1 month, or like some places will give you the option of not having to pay rent for a month, or to break that down between each month of rent. So it might knock your rent down $100 a month. Just make sure that you are actually getting that special, or make sure that you know exactly how much your rent is going to be and you see that in your lease. Tip number 2, this typically comes before signing the lease, but make sure you know the price of the deposit, and if you have pets, make sure you know the pet deposit and or the pet fee, and also the pet rent. You don't want any surprise fees. You want to make sure that you know everything there is to know that you are going to have to pay for it. So ask those questions, look for it in your lease. Make sure you know exactly what you're going to be paying. That's extremely important. So to go along with that, tip number 3 is ask about utilities. Is water included in the price that you're paying? Chances are cable and internet and all those other kind of things you're gonna have to get on your own, but make sure you ask those questions. Make sure you ask, which is actually my next tip, so I guess I'll just get into it. But make sure you ask if you're gonna need a certain cable or internet provider. A lot of apartments are wired to only have AT&T, or to only have Xfinity, or to only have Comcast. So make sure you ask those questions, because if you're like my boyfriend, he only wants to have AT&T or Xfinity. So when we've been apartment hunting, we've been making sure to ask that question at every apartment. But a lot of them have been AT&T, so we've been good on that. But make sure you know the answers to those questions, because you are going to have to get your internet on your own most likely. Ask if they have valet trash. Not necessarily because you want to know whether or not you're going to have to walk to the dumpster, but you're going to want to know if you are going to have to pay for valet trash, because chances are if they have it, you have to pay for it. I have not come across an apartment yet that will let you get out of paying that valet trash. Like, oh, we don't really want to use it. We don't want to pay for it. No, they're going to tell you, you have to pay for it. You might as well use it. So make sure you ask if that's something that they have, so that you know whether or not that hidden, well, it's not really hidden, but that little fee is in there or not. Some places I've seen it as low as like $3, and at other places I've seen it as high as $20. So definitely ask that question and know how much it costs. So this one as well might seem a little bit silly, but it's always best to just ask. Make sure you know when rent is due, when your first payment of rent is due. Rent is almost always due on the 1st of every month. I haven't come across an apartment that's different than that, but make sure you know when you're paying rent for the first time. If you're moving in kind of at a weird time of the month, make sure that you discuss that with them. And then also ask them if there's any grace period to paying rent. Like the apartment I'm at currently, rent is obviously due on the 1st, and then the 2nd and 3rd we have a little grace period, and then our late fees don't hit until the 4th if we pay our rent late. But of course we don't do that. So, but it is nice to know that we have a little grace period if our paycheck is, isn't hitting until like the 2nd or the 3rd. It's good to know that we have a little bit of time after the 1st to pay our rent. So definitely ask that question as well. Another good question to ask is to ask about security. A lot of apartments have security guards that are there, like, 24 hours a day. Some of them might even live there. But it's always good to know, is there security in case anything happens? Is there somebody that's going to be watching around to make sure nothing happens? It's just good to know. It'll help you feel a little bit more safe. And, if they don't have it, that's okay too. Some places have it, they're just not 24 hours, and other places do have it. It's just always good to ask that question so that you can know. This question is more towards people that are moving into their first apartments, and that is to ask how you pay rent. Some places have a resident portal, and through there you can just link up your bank account, with your account number and your routing number, and then the first of every month you just go in there, click pay, and it takes the money out of your account just like that. Some places you can do a money order, cashier's check. You can, use your debit card. Just make sure you know how to pay rent, because obviously that's pretty important. Another question that is pretty important is to ask if renter's insurance is required. A lot of places require it. Some it is optional. Like the apartment I'm living at now, it is optional. However, renter's insurance is pretty inexpensive, and if something does happen, it could help you out a lot. So my recommendation would just be to get renter's insurance anyway, but it is definitely good to ask that question, especially if you're thinking that renter's insurance just isn't what you need, and that's okay. But make sure you ask that question because it might be required at the apartment that you're looking into. So definitely ask. All right, guys, that is actually all I have for y'all today. I hope that these questions can help you out right before you sign that lease, and making sure that you know a little bit more about the apartment and how things are going to work before you are bound by contract. So give this video a thumbs up if I was able to help you in any way, and comment down below any other video ideas you guys would like to see from me, whether it's something else to go along with this apartment series, or if it's a totally different video idea. I'm open for anything. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button down there, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!